Hey, this is Kevin Makeley. I'm playing the Macho Man Randy Savage on NBC's Young Rock. Check it out, 8 o'clock on Tuesdays, streaming on the Peacock channel. And you are listening to Spoiler Country. Ooh, yeah.
All right, guys, welcome back to the show today. Well, this is going to be awesome because if you go on Netflix and you watch, if you're like me, you love Westerns. I've been watching a ton of Clint Eastwoods lately. I just got done watching Hang 'em High last week. This guy has an amazing Western on Netflix called Borderlands. Go check it out. It's awesome. And he's on one of the funniest shows on TV right now, the brand new Young Rock. Kevin Makeley, thanks for joining us, man.
What's up, brother? Hey, man, I don't want to, go back, but it's Badland, Borderland.
I don't know why. You know what? I was playing Borderlands last night. Video game.
I've done it myself.
Badlands.
Singular.
Kill me now. Go to Netflix. Check out Badlands. It's really good.
Thank you.
No, dude, I'm not kidding. I love Westerns, and I feel like they're not enough of them are being made, and I'm always scared they're going to go away. And I know that was a labor of love for you. So that was awesome to see it.
Bro, yeah, I loved shooting that movie. I'm a big Western fan. I've actually, I own the production company that made that film, Pop Octopus Productions.
Oh, that's awesome.
My company. We've done 3 Westerns. So
what's the other 2? I'm writing it down right now.
Yeah, check out Any Bullet Will Do. You can watch it on Prime, Tubi, Vudu for free. Well, if you have Prime, obviously.
Right.
It's not on Netflix. I mean, you could get it on DVD or whatever. But yeah, Any Bullet Will Do is a fun one. If you like Jeremiah Johnson, which is what inspired that film, mostly because it takes place in the snow and it's like traversing through like mountainous, snowy areas, which I love. Like I could just watch like The Thing and Jeremiah Johnson all day long because I just love movies in the snow like that. So we shot this movie, Any Bullet Will Do, basically in Montana at the top of a mountain, negative 10 degrees. It was ridiculously cold and, low budget indie. We took a snowcat up there and some snowmobiles. There was a yurt. We made fires to stay warm. It was awesome. It was awesome, dude. A good time. So all that production value is there, and that's a fun one. There's another one called A Reckoning. It's a smaller. It's our smallest film, and it's a female lead, and it's really her journey about her husband. Well, I don't give it away, but something that happens to her husband. So she's seeking answers and revenge, and so it's kind of a flip flop. I play the bad guy in it. I just kind of did it out of necessity. I was really just kind of producing that one, and then I was like, well, we really need a good bad guy for this. I was like, you know what? I'll jump in. Let me do it.
I'm going to do this because
I'll just do it. So I show up at the end. It's fun.
I think it's awesome. How did you start your own production company, man? That's
just a bunch of like-minded people that
came together
and like, let's just do it. It's not rocket science, man. It's really just putting one foot in front of the other and doing it. And I've been in this business. I got my SAG card like 1998.
Oh wow!
I've been doing it for a long time, and I've had so many close calls, so many like this is the one, and then it comes and goes, or you're on hold for this, and then it doesn't pan out, and like it's just so many close calls. I've just been plugging away. It's my career. I've been doing it for a long time, but you're at the mercy of Hollywood.
Yeah.
You're really at the mercy. I go in and I audition along with 10.
One week you're the right look, the next week something's wrong.
Right. So it's that, and so you never know. And I was like, well, and somebody had told me, probably 10 years ago, with YouTube and everything, it's like before streaming was a thing. You need to make your own stuff, put it on YouTube. I was like, oh, that's ridiculous. I'm going to make my own stuff, put it to I'm going to be in movies, whatever. And not that I was like, it's ridiculous, but
right. No, I get you.
I was like, it didn't seem attainable. It was like, it's hard enough already to make it, in film and get on TV and get a commercial or get a film. Let alone make your own thing. And then, again, got with some like-minded people. It's like, let's do it. And it took off. We wound up making 3 movies and then got approached by Sony Pictures Home Entertainment. And we got a deal with them. They released all 3 movies. And then we just started making more movies. And then wound up getting a good output deal with a company called Cinedigm, who put out Cinedigm. They put out Badland. and it got a theatrical release. We just climbed the ladder, and now 5 movies under my belt, producing wise. Yeah, own the company. And we got last year when the pandemic hit, Badland went on Netflix. It became the number 3 most watched.
Yeah, I saw that. That is crazy.
It blew up. It was a like independently financed independent movie that I starred in and produced, shot with my friends, with my company, and again, like-minded, great people. I have this new partner, Jennifer Ambrose. She's amazing. My old partner, Sean Nightingale. And we really stuck together. We made this film through thick and thin. And to have an independent film, like a true independent film, no studios involved, no nothing. From conception through delivery, editing, everything. We did everything ourselves, and it became number 3 on Netflix without any like real promotion. It was so organic. It was a highlight. I mean, I was on cloud 9. It was the people spoke and made that happen, and it's just great. So
because when you woke up in the morning and you saw the numbers and you're like, we're fucking number 3.
It was well, actually, the director of photography, this guy Edon Menon, super talented, the guy that shot the movie. He was like, it was number 4 at the time. He sends me a text, a screenshot, and it was when the top 10 list was fairly new too. So I didn't even know it existed. Right. And he's like, check this out, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? And he was like, we're number 4 on Netflix. I'm like, number 4 on what? Wait, what? And and I go, and then there it was, and I'm like, oh my god, we're number 4, and then it went to number 3. I was like, so it was a Mel Gibson movie, a Netflix original, then Badland.
That's so awesome.
My picture. It was just
congratulations on that, man. That is.
But so it's opened up a million doors. We're taking off. I have so many things in the mix. So we're working on a movie right now, tentatively with Bruce Campbell starring in it. We're so excited about it. Comic book adaptations. I've got the IP on a couple of things. Just things have blown up, and so keep an eye out, Pop Octopus. We're going to do some great things in the next.
Oh yeah, man! Year. You got to let us know because we'll promote the shit out of it. Because that's awesome.
Absolutely, I'll give you an exclusive, brother.
Yes, brother.
Yeah, man.
How'd you guys get Trace Atkins on that movie?
Phone calls, man. We did. Well, what happened is we'll call anybody. Been in this business forever, so I know a lot of people.
Yeah.
So we just started making phone calls. We had a great casting director, Tinica Becker, but I have an agent, and I've been through a bunch of agencies, and we all kind of know each other. So with a Western, Trace Atkins in the independent space, he's gold. He's box office gold, and he's a tremendous actor. He's a tremendous man.
Right.
6'6". He's huge. Such a good dude, and a country.
He kind of sing.
He's good. And country's not really my thing. I don't dog him. I think he's a fantastic talent.
I'm the same way. Yeah.
He's cool, and he's as humble as it comes. You would never. I mean, he just showed up.
Though that country singing thing, you know what I mean? Like people know who Trace Atkins is. If you're into country or not.
Right, for sure. And you can listen to 1 bar of any Trace Atkins song, and that voice. When he talks, like your hair goes whoosh, he's enormous, and that voice, it's just so whoa.
Yeah.
It's great. But so we just got with his agent. We talked to him. He loved the project. There was a lot of scheduling stuff, but then we got Bruce Dern. So once we got Bruce Dern, I was like, oh, this is a cool project. And then we got Bruce Dern, and then I put a call out to Mira Sorvino's people. I was like, well, we have Bruce Dern attached. She was like, and she always wanted to work with Bruce Dern. And I was like, this is a great role for Mira Sorvino. She's never done a Western. So they pitched it to her. She and I had lunch. She liked the project. She watched Any Bullet Will Do. Was like, really like what you're doing. Let's do it. So once we got her and we had Bruce Dern, then we pitched it to Trace, and we had that kind of sealed the deal. Once you start getting more and more people, you seal the deal. Yeah. Then came Wes Studi and Jeff Fahey, who's also a tremendous talent. Tony Todd. I mean, come on, Tony Todd. So it just spiraled out of control, and
dude, that's awesome.
We made a great movie.
That is
a blast doing it.
And now, right now, though, you're on the Young Rock, working with training with the likes of Chavo Guerrero and
the man.
Yeah, and then all those. I mean, they're doing that show right. It looks fantastic, and I know you guys are doing all your own stunts, dude. What's it like being Macho Man, living the life?
It's a dream come true. A couple of years ago, I had the privilege of there's this film Zeroville. I'll get back to the question, but there's this film Zeroville. I play Steven Spielberg, which is about as polar opposite as you can get from the Macho Man. Yeah, I'm playing Steven Spielberg, but my agent is my brother. We've been working together for like 20 years. He knows me. He knows me intimately, not the persona that I put out there that most people see and think that I'm one thing. It's like I said when we were talking before we started this. Yes, I'm a nerd. I'm a comic book geek. I'm all about it. I'm a Star Wars guy that used to have the ships hanging from my ceiling. And I'm not talking about when I was 7. I'm talking about when I was like 22. We had ships hanging in my apartment and my original Millennium Falcon, and Darth Vader was behind him, and anyway.
Your wife's like, that's coming down.
yeah, that's not happening. Although I do have an original. My friend used to be the archivist for 20th Century Fox.
Oh, nice.
Photos. So he gave me this awesome. It's C-3PO being put together by dudes with like Casio watches and sideburns, like 5 guys screwing him together. The picture's about 3 feet by 4 feet from the original negative from behind the scenes, 1977.
Wow.
With a letter of authenticity. It's huge. So I'm allowed to hang that up because that's art, brother.
Right.
So that's hanging up. But yeah, no more ships from
that's
ceiling.
Pop
But
art.
That's the
real pop art.
So what's that?
So that's real pop art.
It is real pop art. So he calls me and he says, I need you to take a picture of yourself looking like Steven Spielberg right now. And I'm like, okay, so I wrote. So I took my favorite aviators, I popped the lenses out, I went into the closet, and I found as retro a jacket as I could find. My hair was pretty long, I had the beard,
right?
And I did that, and I have, because I'm a nerd, I have an ET doll. So I held the ET doll, and I had this picture, and I sent it. And like 2 days later, he calls you got the role. I got the role. What role? He's like, Steven Spielberg. I'm like, I don't even know what it's for. So it's for this movie. And apparently Paul Rudd had the gig and Ant-Man went long.
Yeah.
He couldn't do it. And, Paul Rudd and I, we have that, I guess a little bit of the same, nose, that kind of, so I could see Paul Rudd being Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
They didn't know I was muscular. So I wound up starving myself for like 2 weeks prior to the role.
I was going to say, man, you must have been like Jack Steven.
So I got my own wardrobe. I went thrifting to find stuff that fit because I knew because it was all happening so fast. I mean, they went based on my reel and my picture. So they're like, oh, this guy can act. So, let's give him the role. So anyway, so I shot with Seth Rogen and James Franco and a bunch of guys. The movie came out last year. It didn't do that well. It's a fun movie called Zeroville. But anyway, I got to play Steven Spielberg. And to me, I was like, oh, it's my favorite director of all time. Indiana Jones, everything. I mean, come on now, Jaws. It's Spielberg. It's Spielberg, right? I mean, for geeks, right, like us, that's Lucas and Spielberg. And I'm playing Spielberg. And in the scene with me is a dude playing Lucas, and we got to geek out being Lucas and Spielberg, in this thing. So anyway, so got to do that. And I thought that was great. And a very similar situation happens. Flash forward, it's a story. My brother is my agent. Yeah. So Macho Man is my favorite wrestler of all time. We were WWF.
When I was a kid, man, that's who I mimicked.
Right. So awesome. Oh, I got to hear your impression there.
Oh, it's, all right, brother.
Very good. Yeah. So I was Macho Man several times for Halloween, and I guess this role came up. So my agent texts me and he says, it's same thing. I need you to send me a picture of you being Macho Man for Halloween immediately.
Just do it.
So I asked no questions. I
learned already not to do questions.
And I send it to him. And, because he's my brother, so he knows, right? He knows that I could pull off Spielberg because I'm a Spielberg geek and I'll figure it out. And he knows I could pull off Macho Man because Macho Man's my guy.
Yeah.
So I send him this picture and then I get this audition and I'm using pieces of my costumes from Halloween. I have 5 different scenes that I have to put on tape. So each one is a little different level of Macho Man. And then the last one, I'm like full, I got tassels and, it's all homemade costumes. So just pieces of it, the whole time. And I get the gig. And then, so we're freaking out. I get the gig on Macho Man. What do we get? And then he calls me and he says, they passed on you because your headshot's very clean cut and they couldn't see it. So I knew you were Macho Man. So I called you to get the Macho Man photo. I sent it to them. They're like, oh, we could see it. Yeah, we'll see his tape. And then I got it. And then I'll back up. So I put a Vimeo link. I send the tape out and they love it. And I see it goes from 3 views, 4 views, 5 views, 6 views. Get the call. They love you. A couple more people have to watch it. So just want to make sure you're available to go to Australia. Of course I am. So 8 views, 9 views, they call back again. You're in. They're just waiting for approval from DJ, they say, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock.
DJ.
So that's like on a Wednesday. So Thursday, I'm watching, basically real time, watching my Vimeo account, 8 views. Thursday, 8 views. Friday, 8 views. Saturday, 8 views. Sunday, 8 views. Monday, 8 views. Monday at 12 o'clock, 9 views. 9 views. And then literally I get the call, you got the role. And like in real time, I saw it go from 8 to 9 views. Dwayne Johnson just watched my video. And I got the call, I got the role. It was like so surreal, it was amazing. It was amazing. And again, so to go back to the original question, how is it being Macho Man? My favorite guy since I was, and I still call it WWF. I have a hard time calling it.
Yeah, I'm the same way because I watched WWF growing up. I'm almost 40. I'll be 47 in August. So that whole WrestleMania 2, 3, those were huge for me, and my dad took me to Tacoma Dome to watch Hulk Hogan wrestle Macho Man Randy Savage. And this was before they were this whole thing. Powers? Yeah, exactly. Before that whole thing. And Hogan just, beat him up. I mean, defeated him right away. But I got to see him live. And it's a memory I'll have for the rest of my life. I love it. They were great.
It's amazing, man. I grew up in Poughkeepsie, New York.
Yeah.
And Macho Man's debut was at the Civic Center, the Poughkeepsie Civic Center. When he debuted in WWF, he debuted there. So it's like our claim to fame, one of them in my hometown, which is great. Not his whole career, but WWF.
Right.
That's what propelled him. He was doing the circuit, prior, which is really what's happening in Young Rock is the circuit prior to WWF.
Yeah.
Before he got in there, but they all did that stuff. So huge fan. And my mother used to take us, we grew up without a lot of money, but whenever my mom scraped together the money, we went to go see them.
That's awesome.
Live. And it was these, to me, they were, obviously, huge comic, sci-fi comic book fan. And though, from the page and the screen, Superman back in the day, and you get to see this, but these guys were real life superheroes.
Yeah,
they had the bodies and they had the outfits and they did it for real, and they fought and they flew off ropes and they fought in the ring, and it was a real thing. It was real life superheroes. And we didn't know that it was a gimmick back in the day.
Right.
And it was happening right there. And I remember one time I met Macho Man at the Duchess Diner in Poughkeepsie. I was a little older. It was probably 18, 19, hanging out with my friends later than we should. And they had just been, I didn't actually see the gig that they did that day, but Vince McMahon and Macho were at the diner.
Yeah.
And it was like, hey guys, oh my God, and met them briefly. And it was so cool. And even then, he never dropped.
The thing is with wrestling is it's scripted or whatever, but dude, that stuff is hard, man. And those guys are real athletes doing amazing stuff. And you watch them do all those moves, you're like, I couldn't do any of that. And I know if you go up to that top of that rope, that's got to be what, 12, 15 feet?
Bro, from your head to the floor on the right. So you're standing on the apron, not on the apron. You're standing on the top rope, on the turnbuckle. Behind you is the ground below the ring. So from the top, I'm 6'2".
Yeah,
I'm standing up, 12 feet above the ring, the apron of the ring. You're looking at like 15, 16 feet to the floor, the concrete floor behind you.
And then you're jumping off that? Get out of here.
It's crazy, right? It's crazy. Yeah. So I that was by the way, I don't know if you saw last night's episode, but I throw the elbow off the top rope.
I did.
And and that was all me.
Yeah.
No stunt doubles, none of that. We already talked about it a little bit, but
how many times did you practice that?
Once.
Oh, wow.
Here's the story. I told it before, but I'll give you the story. Chavo Guerrero Jr., the legend. He trained us all. All of us were actors in the Battle Royale. The guys that are in the back, the guy plays Sergeant Slaughter. He's a real wrestler. He's, Wayne the Maniac. He's an Australian wrestler. A lot of those guys were Australian wrestlers. They filled out the back. But the main cast, the Wild Samoans, Andre the Giant, Iron Sheik, myself, we're all actors. Athletes, Matt Willig, who plays Andre the Giant, used to be, pro NFL for 14 years. 6'8".
Oh my God.
He's huge. It's like, and we became such good friends. He'll just like come up behind me, like, what's up, brother? And like do the whole like hand on your neck thing. And it's like the fingers go to like your Adam's apple. You're like, Like, I fancy myself, I'm 6'2", 230, right? I'm not a little
You're not small.
Right? I'm not small. And this guy puts it, and I'm like, hey, yes, sir. Like it's like this, like, I don't know how I feel about your gigantic hand on my neck. Like, I feel so small and insignificant, but just a gentle giant, the coolest dude. So Chavo trained us all. It's just like, I'm going to demystify it. This is how we do it. This is how we do it. And I tell you what, it's not easy.
Yeah.
And it hurts.
Yeah.
and we were not, and we were
that
doing
ring doesn't give.
Acting style, right? So with angles or whatever. So to go to the elbow drop, we weren't going to do it. The day I met Chavo, the first day I got out of quarantine, because everybody had to quarantine in Australia for 2 weeks. The day I met Chavo, I said, hey man, I do all my own stunts. I just did this movie, Badland. I'm riding horses. I'm jumping off things. I do my own stunts. If I could do the flying elbow, it would be a dream come true. And he was like, not going to happen. He was like, you do a flying elbow. Like Macho Man broke tons of sternums. Like, no matter how good you do it, you're hurting people.
Right.
NBC's not going to let us do it. Okay, that's a bummer. But just so you know, I'll do it. Then we're doing the battle royale. We're going through everything, and basically, I get, well, spoiler alert, I go over the top rope. She throws me out.
Right.
And that's all part of the gimmick, right? That's what we're doing. I'm not complaining about it, but I'm like, I'm not even, Macho Man. Oh, is somebody gonna, and I kind of said something. No, I wasn't complaining, but I said something, and everyone's like, oh no, we're gonna come up with something. Don't worry, we're just getting the basic gist down, and gonna have you do something cool. I'm like, okay. So we're shooting Monday. We rehearsed, all week prior. We're shooting Monday. Sunday night, I get a call from Chavo, like 5 p.m. He says, hey man, you down to do that elbow tomorrow? I'm like, shit, yeah, I am. Of course I am. Yes, I am. So he's like, all right, cool. We'll go over it tomorrow. So I get to set early, nothing. 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 p.m. We start shooting, nothing. I'm like, I guess we're not squeezing in. It's fine. So I do my shtick, my little part, whatever, that, getting thrown over and all that stuff with the Sheik. It was great. We're having a great time. The crowd, I'm having a good time with the crowd. It's great. And then all of a sudden, Chav goes, hey man, you ready? I'm like, ready for what? He goes, we're going on the top rope. I'm like, going on the top rope. Cameras are rolling. What are we doing? Obviously, they weren't rolling that second, but we were in the middle of our shoot day, right?
Right.
In the ring. There's not a practice ring right there. It's in the ring. Extras, 300 people filling the first 3 rows of the stadium, and in a real stadium. And I'm like, okay, sure. And he was like, man, just look me in the eye. He goes, got this, bro. You know this. You're going to do it. I'm like, never climbed up on the top rope. All day I'm jumping on the second rope and getting the crowd going. He goes, we're going to do it once. Pad in the middle of the ring, go on the second rope. And obviously I've known that move my entire life. Hands up in the air, I'm jumping, I'm throwing it.
How many times have you done it off the couch?
Right. I told him, how many times have I broken a bed doing it myself, off the couch or whatever? I practiced that move my entire life. So we do it once off the second rope, and then he says, let's try it off the top. So we just try it off the top, get up there, and I do it. I just get up to the top, figure myself up, I fly off. And he goes, okay, cool. How do you feel? I'm like, let's roll this shit. Let's do it.
Do it.
So we go, and he goes, this is all I got to tell you. He was like, it was perfect. And director's like, okay, but what do you want to do? I'm like, no, roll it. We're going to roll it, because I'm going to crush it right now.
Yeah.
And we don't know.
1987. I'm doing this.
This is it, bro. I'm doing it. This is happening, and I'm going for it. And the director goes, okay, cool. The only thing I want to say is the camera is your eye line, because I didn't land on a guy.
Yeah.
You can't get that. They wanted the eye line of the guy to be the camera, right? So there's a pad there. I wound up doing 2 different ones. I actually land on a guy in a different shot, so that's the second one. But the first very one where you're seeing me coming down.
Right.
So the camera's at the end.
Great shot.
Oh, it was amazing. So the camera's looking up, and Chavo just goes, man, everything's perfect. He goes, this is all I'm going to tell you. Left foot goes on the second rope, right foot goes on the top rope. That's it. Boom, boom, you're up. He was like, don't stand up until you have your balance. And if you don't feel balanced, go back down, stand back up. Even Randy Savage wouldn't stand up or go unless if he had his balance.
Yeah.
It doesn't, right? And I'm like, okay, cool. So I just, and he just looked at me, smacked me in the face, and was like, you got this, and then fist bumped me. And the confidence that he gave out to me, about and it's his reputation online. If I fall off that thing, it's on him, right? And he had no hesitations. So we did it, and I go. So director says eye line is the camera, which you never say unless you're never looking at the camera, but the eye line is the camera. So here I go, and the camera's literally almost on the other side of the ring. So here I go. I do my thing. Boom! I throw the elbow. And instinctually, I guess, when you're looking at something that you're going to elbow, you fly to the thing that you're going to elbow. Instead of aiming at the middle of the pad, which would have been where the guy was, I was looking at the camera. I flew like an extra 5 feet. And I just launched. And I literally came with within a millimeter of smashing the camera. There's nothing you could do at that point, right? And I had to sell it. I wasn't going to pull it in. So I was just like, we're not going to hit it. I just, I didn't break at all and landed. And literally everybody came running over because they thought I smashed the camera. I think once I hit, the camera guy jerked back a little bit just in case. And anyway, that was it. The crowd erupted.
That's awesome.
Because they saw the whole process.
Yeah.
The crowd erupted. The director came over, made sure I was okay. And I was like, I want to do it again. Let's do it again. He was like, are you kidding me? He was like, I can't imagine it would be better than that. It was unreal. And I was like, done. One take. One time that I did the flying elbow. And
just call me One Take Kev.
So it was man, it was a long-winded story, bro.
No, that's awesome. How do you it's really cool. How do you Macho Man's voice, his mannerism, how he delivered his lines is so iconic. People mimic him, not even realizing they're mimicking him. You know what I mean?
Sure. Agreed.
But you're doing it through all that shooting. You get home, how do you turn it off?
You don't.
Or do you not? Because I can still kind of hear it a little bit.
and it comes out when I'm starting to talk about him. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is what I found. In my research, my decades long research of the Macho Man, Randy Savage, but I really dug in, obviously, when I had to be him.
Yeah.
Because the scenes, and you've seen how the show is, it's not him doing promos. It's not, unjustifiably, he's not doing the cream of the crop. He's not having an aneurysm the whole time.
Right.
He's at a barbecue, or he's on the telephone, or he's
the day-to-day stuff. The day-to-day
stuff. So if I was to do, I know the fans want to see it like that, but if I was to do that, it's not real.
Right.
It's not real. It wouldn't be. Nobody talks like that all the time. But what I found, even from Chavo, who knew him, and people that knew him, he never shut it off. Right? He never was not the Macho Man. He always was the shtick, dressed the way he did. I mean, he got a little more bikery as we got into the 90s and stuff, but he was still always the Macho Man. Ditched the bright colors and just was like black and white, leather hats instead of bandanas. But always was this guy, always just was this guy. It was just this guy always. So I had to create something that was real.
Yeah.
I had to do a disservice. I couldn't do a disservice. I had to do my hero proud.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pressure on me, but no footage of him not being like this.
Yeah.
So what I did was I had to incorporate, the mannerisms and some of the things, but so I always talk about, I'm a Italian Jew from Long Island originally, grew up in Poughkeepsie. So, you're talking about talking with your hands.
Right, right.
I talk with my hands. I have a big nose and I'm hairy. I'm all of the stereotypes, right? So, and I talk, the hands are always going nuts. So, and that's what he was. But I did the mannerisms, the pinky is up, you're doing the thing. I give the essence of who he is, but never shut it off. So if he always ran at like an 11, in the promos and in the ring, I would just turn him down.
Yeah.
Right. Just turn him down, turn him up, turn him down, depending on the scene and where I wanted to go with it.
That makes sense.
So I wanted to give the vibe of who everybody knew he was, but then bring a realism to him, but also be the Macho Man. So it wasn't, so kept the voice because that was his voice. Did the whole thing, kept the mannerisms, but just toned it all down to be a real life person. That was my process to bring the Macho Man to life.
I want to make sure that I get the right.
Bro, I got time. So if you.
No, I want to make sure that I get the right times when we mention the show. I'm going to add this little piece out. I just want to make sure that we have it. It's on Peacock. It's, it's Tuesday nights, 8
and reruns too.
NBC, all that kind of fun stuff. Because I don't want to say Borderlands. Because wow, an idiot.
Yeah. They're called Small Rock.
Call it Small Rock. Oh, that's gonna happen.
Kevin is the macho guy on Small Rock.
What is you come home from shooting? Do you ever come home like just you just can't turn it off because you got the whole thing on, you're being the Rock, especially when you're doing the match, when you're doing the Royal Rumble and you're doing everything, you're kind of in that mindset. You come home and the wife is like, either she likes it or she's like, you got to turn that off.
Two parts of that, and I'm a little long-winded, but
when
I booked the role, I had 2 months before I left to Australia, give or take.
Was everything shot in Australia?
Everything was shot in Australia.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
And the family couldn't come.
Yeah,
because of restrictions.
Yeah,
that's hard enough to get in there as it is.
Yeah,
so they couldn't come, but I did the audition. I had a lot of fun. I had whatever. Then I booked it, and I was like, "Oh, I booked it! Oh yeah!" Like the whole thing. Like, so I'm basically going to be living with the Macho Man for the next 2 months. And I'm like, and so I was even my little daughter. If you go on my Instagram, there's a little bit my 2-year-old, and she's like, "Ooh yeah, dig it!" And she like does the fingers and everything. Yeah, because she's always doing it. It was funny too. I pulled out my LJN rubber wrestlers from back in the day. I got them in the attic, and I set them up.
You're a nerd.
Yeah, totally. I still have them. I have like 20 of them still. Some are missing hands, because we did, but still my original ones.
Yeah,
I love Macho Man. And so I set them all up, and Macho Man was in the front, and my little daughter, she gets up, my youngest, and I hear her. I set them up after they went to bed, just on the table, the kitchen table for fun.
Yeah.
She goes out, and I'm still in bed, and I just hear, "It's Daddy, it's Daddy," and I come out, and she's like holding the Macho Man figure and calling it Daddy.
That's hilarious.
It was so cool. So she's fun. So I was doing it so much that even my daughter says, "Ooh yeah." The 2-year-old,
hilarious,
which is hilarious. But anyway, so then we're in Australia.
Yeah,
and it is. You can't just turn it off. I know, Andre has an accent, so he goes into his French accent. The Sheik has an accent, and he does his thing. But the Macho Man is not an accent. It's a vibe. It's a thing. And I just can't go.
It's an attitude.
Hey man, how are you? To ooh yeah, authentically. I can't and live in that space. So I get up in the morning and I start, and if I don't feel the motivation, I'll put on a video. I'll watch the Cream of the Crop video. If you haven't seen it in a while, watch that one. Or some of the promos, or he did so many good appearances on talk shows like Arsenio Hall, and there's just so much great footage out there of him being him.
He was great in Spider-Man.
I'll watch it and I'll get in that mode. But then so I would get on set, and sometimes you have 2-3 hours before you're shooting and you're on set, but I can't shut it off.
Yeah.
So I'm talking to everybody like this and that. So like by day 3, I would show up and I would go past the director, ooh yeah, the director would ooh yeah me, and the camera guy ooh yeah, dig it. Everybody it was infectious, right? It was infectious, just like between you and I, right? We're talking, even me talking.
It's hard not to.
So you can't, right? It's infectious, and it just became fun. It just became fun, and everybody was doing it. And then
I'm laughing so much I'm getting red faced.
So then we would like, and I became like, Matt Willig and John Toohey and Fasitua and Brett Azar and Nate Jackson, all the guys around, Chavo Guerrero, we all became brothers, right? We're all in Australia together, away from our families. So we all hung out every day together. Every day. If we had a day off, we were together. If 2 of us were working, 2 of us were off, everybody split. We were always all together, sending each other pictures and hanging out and drinking a whiskey at night or whatever, just together constantly. And I would go back to whoever, we're hanging in Chavo's room tonight. Who's getting the bottle of, tequila, or we're drinking Terramana or whatever we're doing, hanging out. And I would just show up and I would just start talking. It's still talking like that. And it was like, Kevin, shut the fuck up. Like, we're not rolling. I'm like, man, I can't help it. Like, they're like, is that you or are you? Yeah. And I would just be like, oh yeah, that's cool. And like, they're like, really, man? And I'm like, I don't know. What do you, I'm not a method actor, but
it's weird. Chicken wings. Oh yeah.
That's another funny story about Australia. I wanted to do the cream. I mentioned Cream of the Crop 1,000 times. I wanted to spoof it in costume on set.
Yeah.
And you can't get a creamer in Australia for like you ask for a creamer at McDonald's, they give you a cup with this thick cream that you have to spoon out. You can't even. They're very serious about their coffee over there. So you couldn't get a creamer. I couldn't get a creamer. The whole time I was in Australia, I couldn't get a creamer. I wanted to balance it on my head. Oh, I'm balanced. Oh, balance doesn't matter. I'm better than you. I want to do the whole thing. And it would have been awesome. It just never happened. And so anyway, I know if we go back, if I'm lucky enough to reprise my role in a season 2 or any kind of offshoot, I will bring my own creamers and I'm going to do it in costume. Do it.
Let's get that on camera.
It's just good stuff, man. I don't even know if I answered your question, brother. I went off on a tangent, but that's how it is. But
you actually more than answered it.
Cool. But to elaborate or to continue or anything about the Macho Man, to fill those boots, to do him justice, it has been the highlight of my career. I mean, I made Badland. I'm a huge Western fan. I love Clint Eastwood. Sylvester Stallone is my favorite guy on the planet, actor-wise. He was the inspiration for me to get into shape and all the things that who I am, growing up. He was my father figure. But Randy Macho Man Savage was like my real life guy idol. And all the cool things that I've done in my career, this is the highlight. Whether it's the biggest thing or not. I mean, I starred in the number 3 biggest movie on Netflix for that time.
Yeah.
And this is the highlight of, to put on those macho trunks and the sunglasses and go and act,
sunglasses.
Do the whole, and just to do the thing and then have people enjoy it. And guys like you want to talk to me about it. I mean, come on, man. It's just a dream come true. And during this pandemic and people are hurting and times are tough and the whole world is whatever, to have this, it's not lost on me, man. You know what I mean? It's not lost on me at all to have a little success and a little shining light and to be able to take that in and project it in the world. And if I'm getting people to smile for, 22 minutes here or there, watching the Macho Man or whatever, it's just all of it. It's a blessing, man. And none of it is not jaded by it all. It's not lost on me. I'm super thankful every day, especially during this trying time. So it's just a blessing that this has happened.
Yeah.
Macho Man, what can I say?
Well, Kevin, thank you so much, man. This has been awesome. I'm going to beg for you to come back soon because I feel like you and I could probably pick any subject. And by the time we're done, I'm going to be red-faced again, laughing like crazy. I'm going to try to get you to spit out your beer or whatever you're drinking. And because this was too much. This was a lot more fun than I anticipated because you never know, right? You know what I mean? You never know what you're going to get when people come on and
I could have had a pipe and an ascot and talk about my acting approach to the role.
I've had people come on where they just don't want to talk. And I'm like, why did you come on if you don't want to talk?
Interesting. No, but the thing about me, and you'll get to know, because I think this is great. I'll talk to you anytime, man. I'm a talker, and I just love to talk, and I love to tell the stories. And I love filmmaking. I've been a fan my whole life. Like I said, I know we're trying to end this thing, but I grew up with a single mother, and she worked 3 jobs just to make ends meet for me and my brother. I didn't really have any father figures in my life, and we didn't have a lot of good quality family time. I mean, we had a great family. My mother's amazing. I don't mean that, but she was always working to provide for us. We didn't have a lot of money, but on the weekends, it was all about whatever movie was playing, we're going to see it. I saw everything. It didn't matter if it was rated R and it was inappropriate for my 5-year-old self. I mean, we saw Blade.
That was your guys' time together.
Yeah, that was it. And so like E.T. and Blade Runner, all the Star Wars, everything growing up. I saw everything, Rocky, Rambo, First Blood and Rambo changed my life. I was like,
we have the same. Well, I was lucky that my parents stayed together until I was 12 and then they split, up. But we grew up quarter mile from a movie theater. So I could walk out 5 years old. This is the 80s. I mean, late 70s, early 80s. It wasn't a big deal. I could literally 6 years old, 7 years old. I could walk. My mom was okay with me walking there by myself. A little before that, my brother would always walk with me. He's 5 years older, but we'd walk down. I remember was it 82 when E.T. came out? I think it was 82,
83. Yeah.
Yeah.
82
down there.
Take place in 82. So
yeah, we watched E.T. and then that finished. and then we walked across the hallway and snuck into Clash of the Titans.
Oh,
you know, and it was just, and we did that
appropriate. Clash of the Titans was scary back in the day.
Oh man,
when you're 6 or I guess 10 years old, 9 years old, how old you were. Yeah, man. Funny story I have about E.T. We went to go see it, and back in the day, we wait in line forever, right?
Yep.
The blockbuster.
Yep.
And we got up there, and we were always late. So if the show started at 5 o'clock, we got there at 4:45. Even though so we'd be in the back of the line. By the time we got up there, it's my mother, my brother, and I. No 3 seats together. I'm like however 7, 8 years old. And so there's no seats. And so I said, well, you know what? I'll sit by myself, Mom. I'll do it. I'll sit by myself.
I could do this.
So I sat by myself. My mother and my brother sat together, and I sat by myself between 2 older women, probably like in their early 70s. Wow. And they were there, and I sat in the middle. I didn't know them, but they were very cool. I want to say they shared their popcorn with me, and it was they're like, "Oh, this young man is so cute," or whatever. So then we're watching it, and then it's the end of E.T.
Yeah.
And had I been sitting next to my brother, it would have been like that lump in your throat, and you're just like
trying not to cry.
But since she's bawling, I'm by myself, I'm bawling, right? And I just start bawling. They're handing me tissues. We're all with these, and I'm like, like I said, 7-year-old, and I'm
7-year-old something strangers.
Right, just bawling, and because I wasn't with my family. And I just couldn't control it. And I was like, well, my brother's not going to see me. I don't care. So I just started freaking out. And then, then it's over and lights come up and, and here I'm like grabbing tissues from them, trying to cover myself up before I see my brother. But you can't, eyes are red and there's just no way to hide it. And I'm like dreading seeing my brother. He's my older brother. Who's my agent also, who's going to, just give me shit for the rest of my life. And I look at him, same thing. Eyes are completely, because I wasn't next to him. He lost it. My mom's, face is all wet and red, and just that whole thing. But I'm glad it happened.
How do you not?
How do you not? But if we were sitting next to each other, I remember we went to see the last thing. I think. Well, no, we've seen a bunch of things, but we went to see Big Fish together. My brother.
Oh, I love that movie.
It's so good, and that's another one of those, right? It's it's not it's a modern classic now, but. And I remember we're sitting next to each other, and still to this day, it's still the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we're sitting next to each other, and we're just looking at it, and we're literally both waiting. The credits roll, lights come on, and we're both still sitting there because neither one wants to make a move. Because if you make a move, you're gonna break, and that whole and we just both like looked over at each other ever so slowly, and we just like nodded, and we both like got up and walked out without like acknowledging the fact that we were both gonna bawl.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
So that was my E.T. into my Big Fish story, but everybody's got a Big Fish story.
Oh, dude, I love that movie. I remember when I first saw it, I was just like, I just fell in love with it. You know what I mean? It was just like one of those movies that I don't know. I mean, Ewan McGregor, I can just sit and watch him all day long anyway. So Albert Finney is so good in it, and it's so just good. The stories. I don't know. I really connected with it. Because I don't lie, but when I tell stories, I like to tell a story. I like to set up a thing and have the thing because it's more fun. You know what I mean? Than, oh yeah, I went down to the store.
Right.
That's boring. And I just want to have, I want more memories in my life. And so I just connected with that whole thing of what he was saying. And he was doing it to his kid, which meant more because it was, I just really liked it. Yeah.
But also, brother, you got to understand when people tell the story, like, I just told you my stories.
Yeah.
I don't want to say like there wasn't really a lot of embellishment, but I embellish the tale of the story.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
I'm into it, and I'm doing the voices, and we're
exactly
into it. So the perception of the way what you're seeing in your mind might be like how they. Do you know what I mean? Like like the way that you're perceiving it might be larger than life because of the way I tell the story. So
exactly.
Big Fish was just so.
That's how I take it.
It's like it's from both sides. It's like you're embellishing a little bit, but that little embellishment makes you enjoy it that much more. The fact that his memories were, there was a 2-headed woman, and a giant and all the things. It's like, well, kind of that's how it was.
Yep.
The way you imagined it, it wasn't too far.
Your imagination took it to that spot.
Took it to that
he was
spot.
just giving you the description was correct. You just took it to a different area.
Right. And who wants to hear boring stuff? I could have said, yeah, I went up and I climbed, left foot on the second rope, right foot on the top rope. I got to the top. I threw the elbow. It was cool.
Yeah.
I had the time of my life. I could have said that, but no, brother, not how we're doing it.
Kevin, I think dude, we went over just a little bit.
All good, man.
Tell your publicist not to kill me.
No. She always tells me, you got to wrap it up, because sometimes they're not nice enough to tell you that time is going.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk until someone tells me shit.
Just stop. No, I'm the same way. It's terrible. It's hard for me to keep track of the time and be like, okay, we got to do this, because I want to keep going. Everybody listening, NBC Tuesday nights, Young Rock, check it out on the Peacock streaming app. You can go, if you haven't seen it yet, go and watch it from the beginning. See Kevin do an amazing job being Macho Man Randy Savage. Also, get on Netflix, check out Badlands. If you look up Borderlands, you're not going to find it. Check out Badlands. It really is a great Western, and Kevin's keeping that whole genre alive, which is awesome. Hopefully we'll see some more out of his production company. And Kevin, thank you so much for coming on, man. This has been more than a treat than you can even possibly know. I really appreciate it.
The pleasure was all mine.
All right.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for having me. Anybody who is listening, thank you all for the love and the support. And I hope to see you all at some point in my life.